Welcome back to the GoombaStomp podcast. How are you doing, Tyler?
I'm terrible. It's been 8 months. I've been sleeping this entire time.
Has it been 8 months? I don't even remember when the last episode we did was.
I don't know. I've just been sleeping the entire time.
Yeah.
What's a video game?
I think it's this thing that you play with a video, and it's like a game of some sort. Like I think it's like a board game on your TV. I'm not sure.
Oh, like those little things you had with your Lion King DVD in the extras section.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
The trivia games.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, moving on to things that aren't stupid.
Wow.
I don't know.
Oh, it's stupid.
I don't know. I just say things. All right. I'm sorry. Anyways, we got a lot of news to cover that we aren't going to cover because that's a lot of months to cover. So, I think the last thing we recorded was right before the Wii U came out, I believe.
I think it was right after, wasn't it? Because you guys were talking about how you were playing it.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I should have went back and listened to that episode. Anyways, regardless, we were talking about Halo and stuff like that. I know that we talked with Jose and stuff. Anyways, let's talk about the Xbox One, because that seems to be the big thing going around. A bunch of news sites, and what fans are caring about right now is the Xbox One, be it for better or worse. So let's get your opinion on the Xbox One.
Personally, I think it's probably the worst thing to happen to gaming, but that's just me.
Well, it's not just you, because a lot of people feel that way.
I honestly can safely say I won't buy one, just out of the principle mainly.
Now, is there anything that they could do at E3 to change your mind?
They could get rid of the daily check-in, because that screws over every single soldier in the military who wants to play Xbox while they're deployed.
Yeah, let's get in the little nitty-gritty details here, just in case anybody hasn't heard, which I'm sure they have, but just in case. What he's talking about, the daily check-in, is essentially every 24 hours you have to, or at least once in a 24-hour period time span, you have to have an internet connection to make sure, basically it's to check that you aren't playing illegal copies or used games or whatever the hell the case is. They want you to check in once every 24-hour period. And if you don't have an internet connection in that 24-hour period, they basically shut off your ability to play video games. But wait, don't worry, you can still watch your DVDs, Blu-rays, and live TV, as they say. Because that's what you want your gaming console for, right? Is to watch movies.
I understand what they're going for. They're trying to make like a full multimedia console, but
no.
Instead of they're taking away more features than it adds. It seems
they're giving people permissions now. Like,
yeah,
we are basically they think they're doing
to check in with mommy and daddy.
Exactly. They think they're doing us a favor by letting us play these games, and that's not it. If you're dropping $500 to $600 on a console, which I'm sure it's going to get up to that. If you're dropping that much on a console, you better be able to play as much games as you want, regardless of an internet connection. And it's not, I don't want to hear these excuses like, oh, who doesn't have an internet connection? It's 2013. Well, genius. It's not about the fact that people don't, like, I hear that on forums or whatever in comments. Why I'm reading those, I have no idea. But you hear that. You hear that excuse is, well, if you can't afford an internet connection, then you shouldn't be looking at buying a console. No, that's not it at all. It's the fact that, just like you said, how about the military? You think people that are getting stationed in Afghanistan and want to just play Xbox to, take their mind off things or just have fun with their, the other people there with, whatever, just playing local multiplayer games. Oh, can't do that if you don't have an internet connection every 24 hours. Or you want to go to a friend's house, you can if it's not your console, you can play your games for an hour and then they shut it off. Well, that's cute. Anyways, it's like they're trying. This is something that's been available since consoles' existence, and that's to be able to play games with the people that are around you. Now that we're in the age of online gaming, now it's just like online or nothing. You get 24 hours without an internet connection. What if you, beyond just like military stationed, somewhere that may not have an internet connection, so it's a big FU to them. It's also, hey, I want to go to a cabin for, the weekend. Oh, too bad if it doesn't have a good, stable internet connection or an internet connection at all, then you're screwed. It's just as simple as that, is you're not always going to be around an internet connection. Heck, storms. What about hurricanes? People that get affected by hurricanes or tornadoes or anything, or just snowstorms or anything that knocks out your power, or not your power, but your internet and crap like that. Or what if you have a crappy internet provider like Cox, and your internet connection goes out, but you still want to play your games? Oh well, hopefully they get that back up in 24 hours.
I mean, they did the same thing with like a lot of modern games now, with like SimCity, and like StarCraft 2 was pretty notorious about doing it too. And they're doing it mainly as like a DRM issue. Like people are they're tired of people pirating their games, so they're making it so like, okay, if you want to play the game, we're gonna have to baby you, and you're gonna have to play online. But it's kind of different with a console, because I mean, consoles were made originally to make video gaming accessible to everybody, because not everybody had a computer that could run the games of the day. So they wanted to make something that someone could buy, like an all-in-one thing.
Yeah.
And now it seems like they're trying to make consoles less accessible for everybody. Because, I mean, let's face it, not everybody knows how to set up an internet connection. Like, there's a lot of retarded people out there. But they just expect they can just plug it in and just get ready to go.
Just when you get down to the base of it, it's a simple factor of, if I'm paying $500, $600 for a console, I should be able to do whatever the hell I want with it. And granted, yeah, if they're trying to stop pirating, sure, I get that. If they want to sit there and monitor used games and they need you to check in to make sure, you paid for that, or it's it's you have the license to that game, because apparently we need licensings now. It's like PC gaming, which these are consoles. It's supposed to be different. If I want to give my friend this game so he can play it, and we'll get into that, I should be able to do that. It's not. This is why. What's with all the restrictions? Like, why? These are so unnecessary. The good that the one little itty bitty good part that they're trying to offer from all this is completely covered with bullcrap. Okay, so let's move on from the internet connection. Let's move on to the used games factor.
Yeah, and how GameStop's just going to tank after this.
Well, I don't care about GameStop, but let's just, because GameStop's a greedy company as they are.
I'm not trying to defend GameStop at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But beyond that, just let's take the fact that now when you play a used game, you could potentially have to pay a fee, which is Microsoft did clarify this past week that they will not be issuing any sort of fee for used games, but they are giving the power to the developers. If the developers want to,
not the developers, the publishers, because the developers aren't the ones that are going to care about money. It's the publishers.
Okay.
And the publishers are going to say, "Oh yeah, absolutely, you're going to pay a fee."
Okay, exactly.
That's going to come down to like the people like Ubisoft and like everybody like them. They're gonna, of course, they're going to want to make some extra bucks off of it, because like used games makes them no money at all. So if they can stand to make some money off of used games, of course they will.
Yeah, exactly. And I can just see EA just totally taking advantage of that. Like, it's so funny, and I know I'm going off track a little bit, but it's so funny the fact that it was like a week or two before the Xbox One was announced, where EA was like, no more online code pass, no more online codes that you need for to have with your new games to be able to play online. And everyone's like, oh, finally they got rid of that stuff. They learned their lesson, or they're finally advancing. Well, now we understand why. It's because EA's in bed with Microsoft. They knew this was coming, and they wanted to look good for a week. But now, because EA is going to have some sort of fee for used games, Granted, whatever, if that's what they want to do so they can get their slice of the pie, no problem. But it's the fact that if I buy a game for $60 and I want to let my friend borrow it for a couple days to play it, I should be allowed to do that. It's mine. If I buy a bike and I want my friend to borrow it, does he have to pay a fee just to use it? No. If I buy a car, does he have to pay just to use it? No. If I buy anything, if I want somebody to borrow it, or to have it, that's completely within my ability. Why is it that, or a movie even, why is it that video games now, when it probably the most likely to let people borrow something like that, just because, not every game's worth paying $60, or just some people just want to, some people don't have the money to throw around, they still want to play these awesome games. So if I spend my money on it and I want to let my friend borrow it, I should have every right to do that. But now, not only can he not only is there a possible fee that he has to pay, if he can't play it unless I give it to him, basically. He can't just borrow it. I have to physically transfer my license over to him to have the game, which that wouldn't be a problem other than the fact that he can't give it back. It's a one-time thing. A game can only transfer hands one time. Did you read that?
Yeah, I did, and that's the thing with like what GameStop was saying is like, because they were going to be fine as long as they could just transfer over it, like they just have the person surrender it when they trade the game in.
Yeah.
But since it's one time, they can't do anything. They can't do anything. Like, I mean, they kind of have to hope.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the first time it's being traded. And I mean, it's retarded. It's completely driving away from consoles again. We're about it's moving on to the disc is now just like an installation disc for your PC, and you install the game on your console, and that's it.
Exactly. I don't get it. I think it's ridiculous. The fact that if I want to give my friend the game, he can't give it back, or or he might have to pay a fee, which, is completely up to the publisher. And I don't know. It's like, what if they're bringing these kind of things in, what's it going to be like 10 years from now? I mean,
well, it really brings up the question is, what is Sony going to do? I mean, Sony has like two options here. They can easily fuck over everybody and just ruin the console market by jumping along with Xbox and doing the exact same, or they can pretty much instantly win the console war by not doing the same thing.
Exactly. We already know the Wii U's not doing it because they haven't. I mean, unless they want to just like all of a sudden jump ship and go on to that side of, decision making and start doing that kind of crap with their games, but they've already got a console in place and they probably don't have that infrastructure available to them. Their console's already out. I mean, they could always patch it and do stuff like that, but I doubt it. Nintendo's just not. I just don't see Nintendo doing that.
I don't see Nintendo doing that either.
So yes, it is up to PlayStation on what could happen here. I mean, it's still completely up in the air whether they go that route or not. And if they're smart, they won't, because it's going to instantly. I mean, people are already revolting against the Xbox One, and I've seen so many people say, "Well, I was going to get an Xbox, but now I'm not. I'm starting to think Sony. I'm starting to think about getting a PlayStation, a PS4." So, I mean,
honestly, PS4 didn't seem that enticing to me, but now it's looking a lot better.
Exactly, and that's how I feel too. I was actually, before the Xbox One was even revealed, I was pretty happy with what I saw from the PlayStation 4 reveal. And I was like, you know what, that looks pretty awesome. I might get it, I might not, but that looks pretty awesome. They're putting a lot of really useful. Not only did they show off some nice games, but they showed a lot of useful functions that gamers. But yeah, they got a lot of useful functions that gamers would really appreciate, like the record footage and be able to instantly stream right off your console. You don't need a capture card. You don't need like a streaming device. You can just instantly do that all through the game. They even have a button that records it for you. Like they have all these features that are really like something that gamers want. They even have a little touchscreen part on their controller. It's not like a Wii U big touchscreen, but it's something that could be utilized for games. And Xbox, no. I mean, we haven't seen anything like that. Their big thing is the Kinect. So now that we've talked about used games, and now that we've talked about the online, having to have an online connection once a day, let's talk about the Kinect. What are your thoughts on the Kinect?
I can't wait to mess with people at Best Buy and say Xbox off.
Yeah, I just uh,
I don't understand the point. I mean, is it so hard to push a button? Is it so? I mean, even like with modern consoles, you just push a button on the controller from your couch. And like, I don't even like voice commands to begin with because they never really work properly.
and it's just annoying. Like, what if you're having a conversation and said, can somebody turn the Xbox on? Oh, there it is. Like, I mean, obviously in that sense they want the Xbox on if they're saying like that. But what if I'm just talking to you on this? Like, what if we're doing a podcast and I'm like talking about turning the Xbox on and it just turns on? That's fucking annoying. Like, I don't want my Xbox to just turn on just because it said Xbox on in the same sentence. And my big problem with the Kinect is not the voice commands, but the fact that it has the ability to listen to what you're saying and
Even
pick
when
up
it's
on
not
those things,
on.
even when it's not on. Exactly. They put out a statement clarifying it's not listening for anything else. It's just listening for Xbox on. And even when you can turn it off, but it's still listening for Xbox on. That's all it's listening for. It's not listening for private matters or anything like that to record to use against you or anything like that, which is BS because Microsoft always has the little fine print of policies are subject to change at their, as they see
Mm-hmm.
fit. They can do anything they want with anything because that's what you agree to. That's the terms of service that Microsoft has because they're just covering their own ass. But at the same time, you can't if they do record something that can be held against you. Oh well, I mean, if you sign a term, I'm sure that's going to be under their terms of service and user agreement that they're allowed to do whatever they want. I mean, who's going to say no to that? I mean, you could not buy the console, and that's definitely an option. But if you bought a console and it forces you to use that to be able to even use your console, then you're going to say yes. But
Well, I mean, the thing doesn't come down to. I don't think Xbox can do anything like untoward with it because it's just privacy laws. And they get into a lot of trouble. But I mean, what's stopping a overzealous hacker from, taking control of an Xbox and listening in?
exactly. And one thing that I find really annoying is that the ability to I forget what it's called, but it's basically the ability to sense how many people are in the room. Did you read about that?
Oh yeah, with Netflix was thinking about
Yeah,
putting it so only a certain amount of people can watch a movie.
and Microsoft signed on for a patent like this, and they want this to happen, or at least the ability to if they want to go forth with it. But it's basically enables them so the Kinect is watching, it's sensing how many people are in the room using maybe heat markers or something like that. But it's sensing how many people are in the room, just so instead of just buying a movie, you're buying a license to watch the movie, and your license is based off how many people are going to be watching it. So if it's just the two of you, three of you, maybe even four of you, so it's just your family, cool. But what if you have 10 people in a room? What if you're just having a bunch of friends over and having fun? Well, it's going to know, and you're going to have to pay more just to watch it. And if more people come, what if you buy a license for like 4 people and more people start to show up, you're going to have to buy an even more expensive license just to just to watch that movie with more people or play that game with more people. And that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely absurd. It is.
That's
Like,
just,
I mean, what's the point of that? I mean, why not just go to the Red Box and just rent the movie at that point?
exactly. And that's what all of this comes down to. And I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but at the end of the day, is it worth it? Is it worth to have a console with so many restrictions, with so many rules to it? Is it worth the games that you're going to be potentially? Is it worth Halo and Gears of War, basically, to
I mean, the
have
thing is,
all
like,
these restrictions put on something that you're paying upwards of $500 to $600 worth? Oh, but don't worry, you can still watch your movies and watch TV on it, even if you don't have an internet connection. Well, guess what? I have a TV already. I don't need an Xbox. I have a Blu-ray player. I don't need an Xbox. I have a DVD player. I don't need an Xbox. And I mean, that can be applied to the majority of people that would be potentially buying an Xbox One. They already have all those things, save for maybe a Blu-ray player. But if you go for a PS4, you're going to have that anyways.
and the thing is, like, the big games these days are not even console exclusive. Like the only really big console exclusive games that have come out in like the past like 4 or 5 years have just been Gears of War, Halo, and maybe like Killzone.
And Uncharted and Little Big Planet. PlayStation's doing a lot better at getting a lot more exclusives, which I applaud them for, because my biggest problem with why I never got a PS3 up until this last Christmas as a gift was exclusive games. They just didn't have the games to support my interests. If I buy a console exclusive, if I buy a console, it's good because it has games that I can't get on the other consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So I never was really that interested, but ever since I've had a PS3, I really like Little Big Planet 2. I really like Uncharted. Those are two series that I would buy if I end up getting a PS4. I would buy more of. Then you have things like God of War, which people love, and I haven't gotten into that yet. I have them. I bought like for $40 all the games, and I plan on getting into that eventually. But so PlayStation's really starting to get a lot more, exclusives to it. And just coming up this Tuesday is The Last of Us, which is supposed to be, according to IGN's review, is
I heard
their
it's
greatest.
10s and 9.5s everywhere.
Exactly, and the IGN review said it's PlayStation's best exclusive, and it's a game that's not even out yet, and they're making a claim saying it's better than all the other games before it, and that's pretty damn awesome. That excites me, and I'm actually thinking about buying it or renting it at least because I really want to play this game. It's got a 96 Metacritic average right now, and that's hard to do these days out of 61 or so reviews right now. Like that's pretty damn impressive. So if they can do that, that's pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. But my point is, PlayStation 4 has everything in its corner right now. It has all the momentum. If PlayStation wants to really win this console war, don't jump on board with Microsoft's bullcrap. Don't put all those restrictions. Make it about games. And that's what their reveal was about. The PlayStation 4 reveal was about gamers, what gamers want, was about the games, was showing tons of useful features. Nothing that Microsoft showed. Microsoft completely focused on a TV aspect with the Kinect, and then afterwards...
the show was TV, and then here's some pre-rendered trailers.
Yeah, exactly. And we know we'll get Halo. We know we'll get Gears of War, and they've said something like 16 exclusives within the first year of release. Of the console's release, you'll get 16 exclusives, and I don't remember how many were new exclusives. A good majority of them were, and that's cool. That's great. But if your console has so many restrictions, so many rules, shady software that could potentially be watching you and using things against you or making you pay more if you have more people in your room, I don't want that. I don't. Especially with the funk of the Xbox 360 left on me with the red rings, the crappy things that break all the time, like their controllers, the headsets. So many they're just stuff breaks so easily. My Xbox, when I play Red Dead Redemption lately, it freezes 5 or 6 times in a night. In a 3-hour game session, it freezes 6 or 7 hours, and that's just Red Dead Redemption. That's not that. I mean, that's a, don't get me wrong, that's a great game and it has a lot to it, but a 360 should be able to run that.
Oh, and just like a few weeks ago, we were both playing Skyrim at the same time.
Yeah,
and your game just up and freezes out of nowhere.
Exactly. So it's not the game, it's got to be the console, and I'm just so over it. So with such a sour taste in my mouth over the 360, I was like, I hope to God the Xbox One is better. I really do, because I want to love Xbox. I don't like Microsoft, but I want to love Xbox because there is Halo, and I'm a big Halo fan. There is Gears of War, and I really like Gears of War. But if it doesn't, if it's not a solid console, if it's not a console that doesn't break, or at least, is minimal, and it's not a console that, if it's a console with all these kind of regulations and rules and limiting factors to them, why would I pay that much money for it? Why wouldn't I just get a a better PC and play the same games except for Halo and Gears of War? Why wouldn't I buy a PS4 if I want a console? Because unless they reveal something at E3 that shows that they have the ability to stream games, the ability to capture and send to your friends, or post to the internet right from the console. Another cool thing about the PS4 was the ability to, your friends can watch you play a game on their TV. Yeah. They can watch you play a game from their own house, and you can even let them take the controls over and get you through a tough spot. That is freaking amazing to me. I can be playing a game and say I want to take a break. You can like I don't know all the details about it. They only briefly touched upon it, but you could essentially play. You could take over my game from your TV. Like that's amazing.
From what I know, I think it's supposed to be stream based, so
Yeah,
it could be kind of iffy for like the lag and the FPS. But I mean, if they execute it properly, it could be pretty amazing.
exactly. And the Xbox, I'm not gonna get into too much like specs because they're very similar specs,
No, they're
but
like almost identical.
yeah,
Like the
but
same
one major difference is the Xbox runs DDR3 memory, and the PlayStation 4 runs GDDR5.
Yeah,
Which
it's not practical now, but
exactly,
it's future proof.
exactly 7 years from now, that's a whole another HD level above because Sony has their 4K TVs, which are ridiculously expensive right now, but 7 years down the line, you know
Yeah,
what?
and I mean,
Those
consoles
won't
are
be
gonna
so
last.
exactly. Those won't be so expensive. That you're talking about maybe 2500 a few years from now for a whole high definition above 1080, and Xbox isn't going to be able to do that well. PlayStation 4 could because it has the GDDR5. It's set to be able to do something like that. They're
I mean,
thinking for the
look what happened
future.
with the Wii. They were struggling just because they couldn't even do 720.
Exactly. And like I said, I don't know what Xbox's strategy is here. A lot of people had a nice like little analogy or whatever is 360 had such a strong showing beyond its bullcrap Red Ring, but 360 was all about the games. PlayStation
Yeah.
4 they took a different approach. It was basically a Blu-ray player that played games, and we saw how that turned out for PlayStation. They definitely did not win the past generation or this generation, I should say. But the
I
next
think they did end
generation,
up outselling though at the end.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't know, but all I know is this next generation it looks like they're doing the exact opposite. It looks like PlayStation 4 has everything going for them, is taking the right strategy. They're selling you a gaming console for gamers with tons of features for gamers, which happens to be able to play Blu-ray and do other cool things. Xbox on the other hand, they're selling you a console that's basically a TV remote, a Kinect sensor, and stuff like that lets you play games when they feel like it, as long as you jump through the necessary hoops.
Well, it seems like PlayStation is going back to what they did with PlayStation 2, and Microsoft is becoming Apple.
Precisely. And I don't know what to say about that because as somebody that, like I said, I was looking forward to the next Xbox, but I gotta say, right now, I'm definitely leaning far more towards the PS4. Far more towards the PS4. I already own a Wii U, and I'm happy with the Wii U. I think it has a lot of potential. They don't have a whole lot of games out right now, so it doesn't get a whole lot of use from me. But as soon as they put out Smash Bros, Mario Kart, the next 3D Zelda, and all the big hits that Nintendo puts out, I see a lot of people getting a Wii U and a lot of people getting a PS4. I don't see a lot of people getting the Xbox One, as silly as the name is. And I should probably touch on that now.
Yeah, it's the most retarded name I've ever heard.
The Xbox One. Okay. It's not a horrible name, but it's stupid for the reasons that they named it that, because of the fact that the whole reason they went with the Xbox 360 instead of the Xbox 2, at least this is what everybody said was the reason at the time, was because they didn't want Xbox 2 versus PS3 because it sounded inferior when the soccer moms go to the stores, for Christmas or whatever, and are looking to buy the console for their children. They didn't want to look and have the PS3 versus the Xbox 2. Who would choose if you're just a casual person? You look at the Xbox 2 and you look at the PS3, you're gonna think, oh well, 3 versus 2. This is the more advanced console, which makes sense by that logic. I mean, it's kind of dumb. They should have just kept going with Xbox 2 and just had good marketing. But anyways, if they're gonna go down that route with their logic, going from the 360 to the Xbox One versus the PS4 makes absolutely no sense by their logic. No sense.
I'm just glad PlayStation went sensible and just named it the PS4.
Exactly. Why confuse things like that? Like, as much as I give crap to the Wii U, which is a really stupid name, why would you go? I thought the Wii was a dumb name, but I got used to it, just like anything. But going to the Wii U, adding a U to it, also is a dumb name. But at least they didn't go against their own word. At least they didn't go against their own logic.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't learn their lesson because if I remember right, they went from the DS to the 3DS and they suffered from sales because people didn't realize there's a whole new console. So to do the same thing with their next one, the Wii to the Wii U, why not just name it a Super Wii? Something. Why?
I'd be down for Super Wii.
Yeah, exactly. It's an old school nostalgia callback. So why not go with that? But it just disappoints me. Anyways, I'm rambling now. It's just boggles my mind. The Xbox One just boggles my mind. We have E3 coming up in a couple days, and they can turn it around. They can clarify things. They can do their best to win people over because they said their E3 console is going to be all about games, not about TV or anything like that. They got that out of the way at the initial reveal. Now it's going to be completely 100% about games. Well, we'll see about that because at this point, to me, I don't care what they show. I really don't.
I want them to take back what they said at this point.
Exactly, because they can show the coolest looking games. They can show 5 amazing games. They can show Halo 5. I really don't give a crap because as long as there's these restrictions put in place that suck, and as long as they don't have these new innovative like actual things built for gamers like PlayStation is offering with the streaming and the things that are actually useful for gamers these days, they don't have that kind of stuff. Is all they're showing is new games with new graphics and upgraded graphics that look cool that maybe you can have a couple more players on, etc., etc., etc. Like that doesn't impress me. That really doesn't. I don't care that much about graphics. I want a console that's going to offer me more possibilities from a gamer standpoint, not from a TV standpoint, not from an entertainment box standpoint. I don't need Facebook, Twitter, and ESPN and all this crammed into my Xbox. First and foremost, I mean, that's all great. That's icing on the cake. But the meat and potatoes of everything, not the sizzle, is giving me a bunch of options as a gamer that I don't have in the other consoles. Right now, Wii U offers something unique. PS4 offers something unique. Xbox, not so much. The unique thing that they offer...
The Wii U has the TV thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I see far more potential in the Wii U and the PlayStation 4. I do not see that potential in the Xbox One. I don't. I see the Xbox One completely wrong direction. I see a fork in the road, and I see the Xbox One going off on its own path, which is extremely risky, but this isn't a Nintendo risk. This is not the risk that the Wii took by doing something completely different to the point where they're going to make tons of money because they're appealing to the casual audience. This is the Xbox limiting and making all these restrictions and offering something that's not even that great. It's really not. I have a TV remote. I'm completely content with pressing the buttons. Oh, look at how they put so much emphasis on how fast it switches between your TV and your Xbox. It's like, I don't know what kind of remotes you guys have, but it doesn't take me very long either. I'm sorry.
And the worst part is, like, you know they're gonna charge for online again.
Oh, and that reminds me. Oh, and yes, they likely will. But that reminds me, something I completely forgot to mention. That whole TV thing, that's not even bundled with the Xbox. That's a separate thing you have to buy. Yeah, that's a separate thing you have to buy. Like that. Why would you build your whole reveal to your console around something that's not even built in with the Xbox? It's something completely that you have to pay additional for.
And probably once again, PlayStation's going to offer free online connectivity.
I don't even care if they don't offer free. Even if they charge like $30, which will be half the price of Xbox Live. If they charge $30, people will be jumping all over that as long as they offer something at least close to as good as Xbox Live offers. If they offer a friends list and party chats and stuff like that, they're golden.
Like, PlayStation Plus isn't that bad. I mean, it gives you a lot of good deals on games, especially.
No, yeah,
and you get a lot of free games, too.
Definitely. I mean, PlayStation Plus is... Yeah.
It's not nearly as polished as, like, Xbox Live is, but you know with the new generation, they're going to roll out something a lot
Yeah,
more.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Even if they charge half the price of Xbox Live just to help, accumulate funds to put forth to even better infrastructures for that, I'm all for that. If I'm not, getting an Xbox One, then I'm all for it, getting rid of Xbox Live and putting on my PlayStation 4 or whatever. I already have 2 years of Xbox Live saved up because I bought them cheap off Amazon for like $35 for a year. So I have 2 of those left that I could just use to keep playing my 360 games if I want and put everything else, into PS4, which I'm all for. They're losing me. Like I said, unless they show something at E3 that completely changes, they got to change a lot of people's minds. And they can't do it just by showing cool games. They just can't. Because they shot themselves in the foot. They took 10 steps back, so taking 2 steps forward isn't going to cut it.
I think what they could do to redeem themselves is like sell it for like $300.
Oh my god. That'd be deplorable.
Everybody would be like, "Oh, all right, I'll deal with the bullshit."
They might as well just sell it for the price of a DVD player or a Blu-ray player because that's all you're getting. Like, it just so happens to play video games.
Well, I mean, it's going to cost like $500, $600.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, at least. It's at least going to be $450, I'd say, at least. And to me, that's not worth it. I'm not somebody that's super stingy.
Wait, how much is Xbox Live? $50 a year?
$60 now.
Jesus Christ! Wasn't it $50 when I started playing?
Oh yeah, it was $50 for years and years and years. But ever since they added like Facebook and Twitter and all sorts of other crap like that, and Netflix, and their excuse was, we've offered a lot of these things for years, but with all the upgrades we've added, now we think it's fair that we charge $10 more. Okay.
Do you get free Netflix with it though?
No.
Oh, okay. No, that's bullshit.
No, yeah. If you got free Netflix, by all means, I can understand. But you're just offering the ability. I have like 5 things that can play Netflix. I don't need my Xbox to play Netflix. Just like I don't need my Xbox for Facebook, Twitter. I don't use any of that crap on there, or an internet browser. I have a computer. Who doesn't have a computer? If you don't have a computer, you probably have a PS3 or a Wii or something else that can do these things, or a phone. Like, they're just marketing. They want everything crammed in their console. They're losing the sight that they need to offer good games. And I'm not just talking about good games. I'm talking about a unique gaming experience that you cannot get on any other console. That should be the most important thing. And they're losing sight of that. And it pisses me off.
It's not even really about the games at this point with Xbox for me. I just want them to stop like treating everybody like a child, like having to hold your hand while you play their console.
I'm just so tired of them crapping in their, loyal customers' mouths. Like, it really does. It really feels like that. Between the Red Ring of Death, how cheap their products are, how much they nickel and dime you on DLC. I've seen companies say, like developers say, we don't choose the price, for DLC. They want to put it up free. Well, Microsoft has final say. And
yes, it comes down to the publisher. The publisher wants to make money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just how Microsoft is. They're a greedy company that puts out cheap products that break, and they nickel and dime you on every little thing that they can. They charge you $5 for a piece of clothing for your little virtual character.
Oh, that reminds me.
Like, I'm surprised they don't just have you sitting there naked. Like, do you want clothes make you feel bad? For just 10 cents a day, your avatar can have clothing.
We forgot to mention one of the biggest bullshits from Microsoft. How they are forbidding, or they're basically shutting out indie developers.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's another big slap to the face of gamers and, indie developers in that sense.
Like, you have to be from an accepted publisher or through Microsoft themselves to publish games on the marketplace. Yep.
And like I said, that's just another big bombshell. And I mean, I feel like we should name the good things about the Xbox One, so we don't feel like we're being completely biased against it. So let's cover.
Looks good, but I hate the matte and mirror finish. It looks terrible.
Yeah, the combination of the two looks stupid. But beyond from a visual standpoint, their controller has a normal D-pad now. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. They took a step backwards.
Yeah, I'm glad they returned to the past just to have a decent D-pad. That's cool.
Well, that's not to say the past, because the original Xbox D-pad sucked too.
Yeah, well, I mean past as in something we've had since the Nintendo. All right, and okay, so there's one good thing.
I
Another
don't
good
really
thing
like
is the triggers. They have
yeah.
they have their own individual rumbles in each trigger now, so they can have more like precise, like it makes you feel more in the game, I guess, if they have different rumbles for each trigger, and that can signify where like shots come from and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. It's very minor, but it's cool
It
nonetheless.
seems like an excuse to throw on the buzzword immersion again, though.
Yeah. Um, it's they Another good thing is and this is one thing that I really do think is cool. Two things. You don't have to have a disc in the tray to play your games anymore, since they're all going to be installed.
Yeah,
You don't have to have the disc because of the stupid check on thing every 24 hours and stuff like that, and that you can't just pass it off to a friend. So that's one benefit from those. Not nearly worth it, I gotta say. I can get up and change the disc. I'm okay with that. But that is cool that they offer that. Um, and the ability to share your library with 10 family members.
yeah, that's kind of cool.
It's
I do like
cool.
that.
It's cool. So say, me and my brothers all have an Xbox One and they buy a game. Essentially this is what I'm getting from it. They didn't really elaborate too much. But if it's as good as if it's as good as it should be, it's if my brother buys a game, we should all be able to play it.
But I don't think they're gonna let you all
No.
play at the same
No,
time.
exactly. I think it's going to be if I buy a game, if I'm not playing it, they can play it.
Yeah, they're not gonna. I don't think that wouldn't be very wise on their part to.
But that would be
just kill there.
but
I don't
that
think it has to be family members. It just says Xbox friends or something
no,
like that.
it was definitely family members. I'm
Was it?
positive. The Xbox friends where that came into play is to be able to sell your game online to
Oh,
somebody, they have to be on your friends list for 30 days.
oh my god, that's
Yeah,
dumb.
another unnecessary restriction. I don't get that, but whatever. If you're already making it so you can only sell it once and they can't sell it back to you or to anybody else, they're stuck with that game. Who cares if they're on your friends list for 30 days? I'm not going to complain too much because it is what it is. I can wait 30 days to sell it to my friends, but oh well. Like that's not something that I see affecting me too much. But at the same time, why? Why is that necessary? That
I
just
think they're
makes
just
no
really
sense.
trying to stamp out GameStop once and for all.
Yeah. And anyways, but yeah, the family member thing. So if it is 10 family members and if you could play at the same time, that is something that could sway me to Xbox One. That is honestly something that could change my mind at least a little bit to say, you know what, that's pretty damn cool. It might be worth the money. Yeah, I can't do all these other things, but at least if I buy a game, I know I can play with my brothers and it's
Hmm.
completely cool. We could all chip in $20 for a game and all be able to play it. If they did that, that would be awesome. That's something that would really add to the coolness of it. It's not enough to turn me, but it's at least it's a start. Anyways, so I like those factors, and that's it.
Uh,
That's
I
it.
like.
The family thing, the not having to have a disc in the tray if it once it's installed, and the triggers and D-pad. Which the D-pad is just sad because we've had that since 1985
I like
or
the.
sooner, whenever that came out.
I like the D pad. How they're going back, and I like the immersive heavy air quotes rumbling because I think it's a neat idea, but I think they're talking it up a bit too much.
Yeah.
And are they bringing back watching Netflix with your friends in a party? Probably not.
Did they take that away? I think they
Oh,
did, didn't
they
they?
took that away in Xbox 360 a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't think it's coming back.
So
I don't know.
dumb.
I can't believe the Xbox One.
I'm just in amazement. Like I said, I am not a Sony fanboy. I mean if I'm a fanboy of anything it'd be Nintendo, but I'm
Yeah,
not
same
even that.
here.
Like I mean I like Nintendo as a company the best, but as far as consoles, my Xbox got the most use. Xbox One and Xbox 360 got more use than a PS2, GameCube, Wii or PS3. And that's mainly because of Halo. But with that said, a lot of those third-party games I could have got it on PS4 and played on there or on PS3 had I chosen that. But my point is, don't think that we're ranting and being negative towards Xbox One because we're against Xbox in any way. I don't like Microsoft, but I had no problem with Xbox, except for the red ring and cheap products. But my point is,
the headsets. Jesus
my point
Christ.
is, I was all about getting an Xbox One up until the reveal and up until they clarified further, and so many things came out. It's just, when you look at the pros and cons, I don't see how anybody can look at all of those and say, you know what? It has more things going for it than it doesn't. It's not even... The good things don't even hold a candle to the bad things.
No, and it's... The thing that pisses me off the most is just the online check-in, because I know what it's like to be deployed in a place with very little or no internet access.
Yeah.
And there was tons of people in the barracks I was stationed at that they played like Halo 3 and like... Oh no, it wasn't Halo 3, it was Halo ODST, whatever the big one at the time was.
That's an interesting point. I didn't even think about that. What about tournaments?
Yeah.
Like fighting game tournaments or anywhere you have setups. Like, think of SGC. Okay? They're going to have a gaming room with tons of consoles set up and a bunch of TVs. You think they're going to have an internet connection for every one of those consoles?
I don't.
On a hotel's
to have one.
on a hotel's internet?
Yeah, it'd be impractical and really expensive.
Really expensive. They're either going to have to run a bunch of cords through Ethernet, or they're going to have wireless, and that's just going to be a crap storm. Having that many wireless connections.
You're never going to get connected.
No, exactly. And you think tournaments are going to go with the Xbox One? Hell no. If PS4 doesn't do that, you better damn believe that tournaments are going to be using PS4s. And I'm not saying that's like a huge market, but you're losing the support of tournaments. How are you going to have like Halo tournaments? Because they're going to have their... I mean, I guess if it all takes place in a day, it doesn't really matter, but still... It's just the principle. It's not like I'm worried about going more than 24 hours without an internet connection. Believe me, it's going to happen at some point. You know, I'll lose my internet here and there, or I'll have some problems, or maybe I want to take my Xbox to a cabin or wherever. But at the end of the day, what pisses me off most is the principle. It should just not be there. It should not be there. I should not have to be locked out of my game console from playing games just because I didn't have an internet connection within a 24-hour time period. You just shouldn't.
I can't stand the concept myself. I hated it, and like that's part of the reason why I didn't even play Diablo 3, among several other reasons. But
yeah,
like chiefly, like you had to be online just to play single player. It's like, but it doesn't make any sense. Like I should be able to. I bought the damn game. I should be able to play it whenever I want, regardless of where I am.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're paying that much for it. Why? Why should you have to pay? Let's look at their excuse. I don't even think we said what their real excuse was. Their real excuse is they're going to be offering games where the world keeps going even when you're logged off, so they need to have that internet connection to keep you updated or something. I don't know. There's something along those lines, and that's such a stupid reason.
And why can't they launch it when you start up the game?
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's so dumb. Another thing that pisses me off is that they're going the PS3 route where you have to install your games when you first put them in. Don't get me wrong. I install my games on the Xbox 360 anyways, but I don't want it to be something I have to do. I put in Little Big Planet 2 on the PS3, and I had to, and this was after a couple of years of it being out, I had to go through so many updates. I didn't get to play for a couple hours.
Oh, yeah. The modern consoles these days, it's like you buy the game and you have to sit back and update for a few hours.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to be forced to do that. If I want to, I want to be able to just jump right into it. But, nope, you can't do that.
I think the main reason they're doing the whole installing thing, though, is just because as technology advances, they're not going to be able to keep the performance level up running off of a drive, like an optical drive like that.
Yeah. One other thing that we didn't even get to yet. They have a built-in hard drive.
Yes.
You can't upgrade anymore. You can't upgrade it later. I started off with 20 gigabytes on the original Xbox. Started off 20 gigabytes on 360, I should say. On the original 360, 20 gigabytes. That didn't last, okay? It just doesn't last. If you want to install games on your console, if you want to have arcade games, you want to have game saves, that thing is going to run out quick. I upgraded to like 120 or 250, I can't remember, gigabyte hard drive. Okay, even if they set us up with 500 gigabytes, is that going to last you 10 years when you have to
No,
install
absolutely
every
not.
game?
Especially some games these days are running like 10 gigabytes plus. Like
Yeah, you
I have
are
some games that
forced
are
to
like 20
install.
gigs.
You cannot, I don't even know if you can delete that install. So if you are forced to install every game, which I don't know why you'd want to delete it if you have to install it as soon as you put it back in because you want to play it again. So, how, even if they hook us up with 500 gigabytes right out of the gate, that is not enough to last. Especially if it's supposed to be the quintessential entertainment center. People want to put movies or whatever the heck they want to put on here. No, it's not. No, it's not enough. But no, you
It's
can't upgrade. You can't upgrade. And it's
it's
just not.
nowhere near enough. Like my computer started off with a 750 gig hard drive, and now I have three 2 terabyte hard drives, and I'm still sometimes scraping for space.
Exactly.
Like everything's so much bigger these days. You can't keep things small. Like it'd have to be a terabyte, and like it can't be any less than that. Otherwise, they're screwing you because you're gonna run out of space, and there's gonna be no way to upgrade.
This console just seems so short-sighted, so just it just reeks of corporate greed and poor business tactics and just completely screwing over your main fan base, your main customers, gamers. It's just not. They are not catering to gamers with this. I don't want to hear
I don't
anybody
even
say
know who they're
otherwise.
catering to,
Exactly.
honestly.
I don't know either. I mean, the whole comment, oh, you can still watch your TV, derp derp. You can watch your Blu-rays, derp derp, or your DVDs. It's like, to me, that says casual audience because that's the only people that really care to use their Xbox One. That's
Everybody
that
already. The
name.
thing is, like, everybody already has a DVR. Everybody already has a Blu-ray player.
Exactly. And if you don't have a Blu-ray player, like I said, maybe
Buy
this is
one.
gonna be your
Like,
first Blu-ray player, but either way, it should not force you to have to use just that. It should not be relegated to a Blu-ray player or a glorified TV.
Blu-ray players aren't even expensive these days anymore.
I know, it's there's no backwards compatibility. We didn't
Yeah, oh
mention
yeah.
that.
They said even this was the Microsoft CEO said that backwards compatibility is the way of the past.
Yeah, and that doesn't disappoint me too much. I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong.
I think his statement is just like a real dick thing to say.
A lot of things that they say are just dick things to say.
Because I mean, like,
It's all just brushing things under the rug, acting like no big deal. They disguise the problem with some sort of small other answer benefit that's completely unrelated. You can't do
like
this, but you can do this, even though this isn't what you wanted at all.
I like how PlayStation 3's approach to it is like we can't offer you backwards compatibility because we're running completely new hardware and like a completely new OS, but we can offer to like stream certain games off of the
Exactly.
PS Marketplace, so you
Exactly.
can still play like your old classic games.
Yeah.
And Xbox, it's gonna be no viable way.
Basically, I go out buy an Xbox One, my Xbox 360 red rings. Okay, now I have to buy an Xbox 360 just to be able to play my 30 plus Xbox 360 games. I have like 40 Xbox 360 games, and to play those, if my console breaks, which it will. I mean, it's been a few years since I've had it, so I mean, you gotta wonder.
It's on its last
yeah,
legs.
any day now. I'm counting down the minutes. I swear. After
It's
the red rings and how much things break, literally every time I subconsciously, literally every time I go to turn on my console,
you
I'm just
flinch.
waiting. No, I'm just waiting for the day that it breaks. I can't say anybody else. I bet everybody else that's had that happen to them a couple times is thinking the exact same thing subconsciously, waiting for it to
I've had a
break.
red wing, and I didn't even play Xbox that much, and I still had a ring.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, subconsciously, everybody worries about that damn day that comes, and they have to drop another 150, $200 just to get a whole new Xbox or to get it fixed. Because warranties are long gone by now.
Oh yeah.
Unless you just got, your red ring like a couple of years ago, so you somehow got a new warranty slapped onto there.
And meanwhile, I can plugged my Super Nintendo in and fired up just fine.
Exactly. I have two N64s, work like a charm. My Wii works fine.
I've never heard anything about a PS3 breaking.
Like they break more.
Problem.
Yeah, they broke more than the Wii, but it's not nearly as bad as the Xbox was. I can't remember the percentage. I remember I'm not even gonna begin to guess, but I know the Wii was the least one to break. PS3 was in the middle, and Xbox was like a whole nother level above the both of them.
It's the thing is, they didn't even fix it with the Slim. Like, the Slim was supposed to be like new cooling, fix all the red ring problems of it overheating and melting the solder, and it still breaks.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Makes me sick. All right. Well, let's move a little along. Same subject, just kind of a different topic on it. I read a story yesterday about Reddit. Did you hear about this? About Microsoft and Reddit?
I didn't hear about it, no.
Okay. Jose formerly of Screw Attack, posted on Facebook saying it was an article about these people. I don't know what the business was, but basically they went to Microsoft Studios, right? And they were getting a tour for whatever reason. It's not just like casual people. They were from some other business. So they're getting a tour of Microsoft Studios. Well, anyways, they got to like the Xbox section of the studios, and there was these employees just looking at Reddit, and the guy was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. They're just checking out Reddit." They figured it was their free time, you know. Well, it turns out these employees were, chatting about it, and as he was, eavesdropping on the employees, he soon learned that they weren't just, on their break checking out Reddit. They were actually doing their job. And what their job was, they had about 5 or 6 tabs open. That's just a guess. I can't remember what the article said, but they had multiple tabs open. And essentially what they were doing is quality control. They were going to any anti-Xbox One post and downvoting it.
Oh my god.
And then they would have another tab to switch to the other tab to leave a comment basically contradicting what the bad report is and giving a good report, but from the view, posing as a consumer, basically. Posing as a fellow gamer to say, the Xbox One is great. This isn't true. This isn't proven, blah, blah, blah. And then they downvote all the other people. Like, they would just go down the whole page, and anything that was negative, they'd downvote.
I mean, that's just viral marketing.
That's just, so sad. I just think that's so sad. To have employees dedicated, and they're not the only company. I'm positive they're not the only company.
Yeah, but it's
so sad to just pay your employees to go to Reddit. It's like, why not just create fake Facebook accounts and put fake pictures of fake family members and fake friends, and then just go up like, "Hey, bros, I hear that Xbox One's pretty snazzy.
Hey, we need about 20 people to just start spamming 4chan."
PS4 streaming? That's lame. I could just do that with a separate... it's just stupid. I just can't imagine.
Everybody make YouTube Let's Plays.
PS4 and Wii U doing that whole touchscreen thing. Oh, looks like PS4 is just following the trend. We at Xbox, we're going for the triggers. Hey, did you see our new improved D-pad? Oh, man. I just, that story boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind. It's just another straw on that poor camel's back that's about ready to collapse on trying to support the Xbox One.
I've never really been a big Microsoft fan from the beginning, so...
I've never been a Microsoft fan. I've been an Xbox fan. Ultimately, I'm not a fan of the Xbox. Ultimately, I'm a fan of games.
Mm-hmm. You're a fan of Halo. You're a fan of Gears of War.
Exactly. I'm a fan of those franchises. I've never claimed to be an Xbox fanboy or even a Nintendo. Like I said, out of all the companies, I like Nintendo the best because I think Nintendo does the most to try and give back to their fans, not counting the whole stupid YouTube wanting the money from that.
I want to touch about that. See, the thing is with Nintendo's being painted in a really bad light because of that. But the thing is, Microsoft did the exact same thing 3 months prior, and it pretty much went unnoticed.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's
And I think
dumb.
it's
I think
fully
it's
their
dumb, but
right.
it's not as bad as people make it out to be. That's all I'm saying.
All they're saying is like, if you're gonna make, we don't want you making money off of our intellectual property. We're not gonna take your videos down. You can do whatever you want. We just don't want you making money off of it because it's not your intellectual property. And
Yeah.
it
No,
makes sense.
I can see it from that. Like I
And it's like
said,
people, it's like the people who are up in arms about it are the people who are making like millions of dollars off of YouTube ads. It's like, did you really think this is a long-term solution for a career? I mean, this was going to happen after they realized you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Like I said, I stand by what I said. I do think it's dumb to just all of a sudden do that, but at the end of the day, I do agree with you in that it does make sense. It does make sense that if people are going to be making money off of those, which I don't agree with the whole monetizing on YouTube anyways. I think it started with like popular channels that could get away with it,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's become everybody and their mom monetize on
Runs
YouTube.
ads
Even
on.
even if they're followed by like 12 people, they still monetize because they, whatever. It's just we'll throw ads. Everybody else is doing it.
See,
We
that's why I
don't
just do ad blocker partly out of principle because
we
I just
don't
don't.
we don't monetize videos because there's no reason to. We have like 30, 40 followers on YouTube, and I could care less to make, a couple dimes off
Yeah,
YouTube. Like if I can make 20 cents off of each video, woohoo. Like I'd rather just not put that inconvenience on our fans and our listeners. It's not
it's
worth it to me. I get paid well enough that I don't need to get an extra 20 cents income just for, you having to sit through a 30-second ad, or even if it's just 5 seconds and then it gives you the option to skip. To me, there's just no, I don't know. I don't do that. It's just not something I agree with in that sense, I guess. But anyways, we're getting completely off track of that. But either way, I agree with what you're saying.
it seems
But
like
yes, I do.
PlayStation 4 is the only one moving towards helping out the Let's Players, while
Exactly.
Xbox and Nintendo are the ones shutting it down. So once again,
Advantage
PlayStation 4
PlayStation
has
4.
another advantage.
Yeah. I'm really satisfied with Sony, and I just hope they don't screw it up. I'm
I
telling
mean,
you,
I've
so
always
many,
loved Sony. I
so
mean,
many
PlayStation 2 is probably my second favorite console of all time, other than the Super Nintendo. Like, I didn't like the PS3 just because they didn't have a lot of titles that I was really interested in.
Yeah,
So I really want PS4 to be better.
I didn't like the PS3 because of the lack of exclusives and how expensive it was for so long.
Yeah, it was really. I remember it being
Like if it was like
extraordinary.
$200 like 4 or 5 years ago, I probably would have got it. But it's been like $400 consistently up until just recently, like the last maybe year or so. But anyways, like I was saying, Sony, I know you're not listening because why the hell would you listen to this? The point is, you better not mess this up. E3 is in 2 days. Your conference, I think, is in 3 days. Do not mess this up. If you just don't do what Microsoft is doing, you're
They
good.
pretty much win.
No,
They
you're
win.
good because people are gonna. A lot of Xbox players are gonna go to you. Nintendo's gonna have its fans regardless. Nintendo's gonna do just fine. I'm not worried about Nintendo at all because even if the Wii U hasn't sold as much as it should, as soon as Smash Bros is announced and all that other stuff, and they start showing that off, Wii U's gonna sell. The next Zelda and all that stuff. Nintendo has its fan base. I'm not worried about that at all. You can only get. I mean, speaking of exclusives, Nintendo has, even though they're mainly first party, Nintendo has 10 to 20 to 30 exclusives all on their own between Mario, Kirby, Metroid, Zelda, Donkey Kong, etc., etc., etc. They're golden. They're good. But Sony, just don't mess things up. Just don't mess things up. You're doing your ball. You've been snowballing with your exclusives, and I couldn't be happier with that. That's gaining my interest. But as somebody that was mainly played 360, I would be more than happy to get a PS4 instead of an Xbox One. More than happy. Just don't do what they're doing. Just
As
don't
long as they don't
do.
make another god awful PlayStation All Stars game.
Yeah. Oh God.
They gotta stick with what they know best.
Yeah.
I mean, PlayStation's always been known for having like really good like fighting games, like just beat 'em up games,
Yeah.
RPGs. and like story-driven games.
Oh
Where the
yeah,
Xbox has
like
always
The
been about,
Last
like,
of Us and Uncharted. I can't wait to play more Uncharted. I really enjoyed Uncharted 3. And The Last of Us, if that's as great as it is, I don't know how the story plays out, but if there's room for sequels, yeah, I mean, I think they got a lot going for them. Just don't, like I said, you don't throw those restrictions on there, you're golden. I will buy a PS4 if they do not put those restrictions on. They have some good exclusives, which they seem to do, and on top of that, they have the streaming. They have, like I've already mentioned it all, like all the things catering to gamers. Then you are good. Have a good online infrastructure similar to Xbox Live. Charge $30 for it. I don't care. Just make it good. Have party chats so I can chat with other people playing different games, and have good headsets, not like the crappy ones on PlayStation. Like PlayStation didn't have their own headsets; they just kind of relied on third-party headsets.
either the Xbox headsets are terrible, PlayStation headsets are
Xbox
terrible.
Ones at least worked when they weren't breaking, which, they broke a lot.
They broke if you like touched it.
Yeah,
wrong
I
way.
know. But I'm just saying, they at least, like, I've tried multiple Bluetooth headsets and stuff like that, and they all pick up so much background noise. It's awful. I just want a good headset, and you're good to go. That is one thing we should touch upon before we wrap this up, is the Xbox controller has a completely new jack, so
Yeah, so you can't use your old headsets. So
which
all
sucks.
Those drop like $200-$300 on their really fancy Turtle Beaches.
Yeah.
Are just screwed.
Yep. So big another middle finger to you guys, but hey, if they're better headsets, like if it's just a better component to use, I'm not going to complain that much. But then again, I'm not the one that just dropped $300 on a headset. So if I just drop $300 on a really nice headset, then yeah, I'd be a little annoyed by that.
What are they gonna improve on? What's wrong with like the
I don't know, man.
3.5mm jack? We've been using it for like decades, and like it's not gonna improve much.
Maybe they should have,
like an optical drive on your controller.
the only improvements they should have made on their headsets is making so they didn't break. Like,
yeah.
Better parts. But yeah, it's frustrating. So, in our last little topic of this podcast before we wrap it up, let's get percentages. I want, because I'm sure both of us will be following E3, or at least enough so when we do this next, which even though we're probably not going to do this a weekly podcast, but I can't make any promises, but we are going to try and pump this out as frequently as we can. So there might be 2 in a week. Sometimes there might not be any in a week. Sometimes there might be 3 in a week. It really is just going to depend on what we have to talk about and availability. Honestly, like, I'm going to make a valiant effort to at least get this going again, but it's not going to be like every Sunday an episode's going to come out. We're a little bit more laid back here. We don't stick to any schedule or, segments. We just kind of shoot the shit with you guys and just kind of talk about, the current topics. So if Tuesday rolls around and there's something to really talk about from E3, we'll throw a 30-minute, 40-minute podcast out there. So we're going to shoot for hour-length ones and just get them out as frequently as possible, even if it's multiple in a week or none in a week. But anyways, to wrap this up, I want to know your predictions for E3. Well, not predictions for E3, because that's a little tough and just kind of could go anywhere. But basically what I want to know is, percentage-wise, right now, what do you grade the Xbox One? Give a percentage grade to an Xbox One, and I want to see if it goes up after E3 or down or stays the same.
I'd give it a 15%.
Okay. I'm going to give it... Ah, man. I'm weighing the pros and the cons in my head. I'm going to go 15% as well. Not to stick with it, but I couldn't think of a better number. I don't want to give it any more. I was going to go down to 10, but then I do think they have a little bit going for them. Little tiny bit. So yeah, 15, I think you're right on the money on that one. So for the PS4 now, I will go first for this one. PS4 right now, I'm going to give 90%.
I'd probably give it like 75%.
75%? Okay, well, we'll get to that in the Wii U, finally. Before they show off all their, like, Smash Bros. And games that they've promised to show off. What do you give the...
Did they promise to show off Smash Brothers?
Yep, they're going to show... I don't know if it's going to be... Like, they're not going to have it playable at the convention, but they're going to show off video footage of the game. They've promised Smash Brothers. They've promised Mario Kart. They've promised.
They promised Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. Oh,
and I think a 3D Mario, but don't quote me on that one. But I know they've at least promised Smash Bros and Mario Kart.
If they can make another game as good as Mario Galaxy 2, I'd give them a 90%, but I'm gonna give them 85%.
So you're giving the Wii U console an 85%, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm giving the Wii U an 80%. Because I see a lot of potential there, but until I see those games, and those games really win me over. I mean, I own a Wii U, so it's not like I'm grading how likely I am to get it. But just as a Wii U as a console, they still have a little bit more to show me to really get that A, so to speak, the letter grade of A. So let's recap. The Wii U, you said 85, I said 80. The PS4, I said 90%, you said 75. And Xbox One, we both agreed on 15. So I will go back. I will make sure to remember those. And then next week or later on this week after E3, we'll definitely get our opinions on if those rose, they decline. Because PS4 could do a lot to screw that up. Wii U could, if they show off a lot of amazing games, which they have the possibilities to do, it could go up. Or it could go down if they flop, because Nintendo has a habit of just having crappy E3s. I don't know what it is with
they've
Nintendo.
Never really. Then again, lately, no one's had really good E3s.
But Nintendo does better because they have their Nintendo Directs where they announce a lot of crap on their own merit. So, But yeah, E3s they really don't perform too well. But yeah, I agree with you. No E3s have been really amazing. So lately,
not since the last 4 years.
Yeah. All right, so. We got what we got, so let's hope they all get better. I mean, as gamers, we don't want anybody to fail. It's not like we want Xbox to fail or anything like that. By all means, we want them to just be like, you know what, all that stuff was bullcrap. We've changed our minds, and here's a million things that are going to be amazing about it, and that's going to make it worth your money. I'd love that to happen. But the reality of the situation is they have a long, long road ahead of them, a very uphill climb at this point. They shot themselves in the foot. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, let's wrap this up. We've gone about an hour and 11 minutes. So
Xbox One cast.
Yeah. I can't believe we had to talk about that for an hour. But you know what? A lot had to be said about that. I mean, it's just a shame it wasn't more positive. But anyways, it gave us a good perspective where we are both at. So that way we can hopefully have better impressions after E3. So I guess that does it for this episode, and you'll definitely be seeing a lot more from us coming up. So catch you guys later this week, and see ya.
Take it easy.